Okay, hey guys, it's Jack here from Peach Guitars and welcome to our continuation on the video series where we're focusing in on the Line 6 HX effects and more specifically using Line 6's HX edit software for your computer to build and manipulate your presets. So in this video series so far we've focused on how easy it is to use this software to build a preset of 6 basic effects blocks and then further to expand it so that you can start to incorporate things like using your amp in 4 cable method as well as using outboard pieces of gear like your favourite overdrive pedal. We've also focused on how to use the HX effects to switch the channels on your amplifier and also using expression pedals to change various parameters on certain blocks within your chain. So what I want to focus on now is something that's really powerful and exclusive to the HX family, which is called Snapshots. So basically what this is essentially presets within each preset. Now if you want a little bit more information on exactly what that means, you can go back and reference a video that we made a little while ago with Stuart from Line 6, specifically on the HX Stomp, but the same exact processes apply to the HX effects. Okay, so what I want to do in this video is take our basic preset that we've already set up and use the 4 snapshots that are available to us to create 4 different permutations of the same preset. So specifically I want to set up a nice dry clean sound. I want a clean sound with some effects, specifically the chorus and compression effects that we put into our chain. I want a crunch sound, which comes courtesy of changing the amp channel to the distorted channel. And lastly, I want a lead sound, which is going to use the external overdrive pedal that we put into our effects loop, and also to change some of the parameters of various blocks in our chain. So to start with, I'm going to name our 4 snapshots so that we're clear on what each one is going to represent to us. So to do that, I just have to come up to the top of our screen here and click on this drop-down menu. Now you can see we've got access to the 4 snapshots here. So all I'm going to do is quickly rename each of them so that you can clearly see which snapshot signifies which sound. Okay, so really easy to do this. To rename each snapshot, all I have to do is right click on this drop down menu up here and I have the option to rename it. Right, okay, so now as you can see from this drop down menu, I've renamed the 4 snapshots as to how I want to use them. So now I can start actually editing the way each one works. So let's start with our basic snapshot number 1, which is our clean sound. So as I mentioned, I just want to have this basically as the sound of the guitar going straight into the clean channel of the amplifier, but I'm still using the spring reverb and delay blocks from our preset. So let's hear that really quickly. Okay, so I want snapshot 2 to retain that same sound, but to add in our compression and chorus effects. So all I have to do is select the snapshot in question, which in this case is number 2, and I'm going to turn on the compression and the chorus blocks just like that. Okay, so I've set up our second snapshot to use with a couple of different effects on our basic clean sound. So I've added in the compression and chorus blocks to that sound. Okay, and something you'll notice as I switched from snapshot 2 back to snapshot 1 there is that there's no latency or drop out of the sound at all, which you'll sometimes experience when you switch between presets on your HX. Okay, let's carry on now. I'm going to go down to snapshot 3 and I want this to be my crunch sound. So as I mentioned, I want to be able to use the dirty channel of my amplifier. So I'm going to use foot switch 5 that we've set up to switch the channel on the amp. So let's go down to snapshot number 3 and I'm going to engage the amp channel switch. So now I've got the dirty sound of the amplifier. Now as I'm going to want to use this primarily as a rhythm sound, I want to turn the reverb off. So I just have to turn off the reverb block here. Okay, so lastly I want to use snapshot number 4 to create our lead sound. So I'm just going to select that snapshot now. And you can see that the amp channel has jumped back to the clean channel, which was the default setting that we had. So I'm going to use, instead of the amp distortion channel, I'm going to use effects loop number 1, which has got our external overdrive pedal in it. So let me turn that loop on, and let's just play that really quickly. Okay, now as this is going to be a lead sound, I want the overall volume level to increase a little bit when I jump to this snapshot. And the benefit of using snapshots is that I can change various parameters of the different blocks I already have in my preset without having to add any external gain blocks or anything like that to increase the level. So to do that in this case, I'm going to increase the return level that I have for effects loop number 1 from the default minus 6 dB that we set up, because this is a very loud overdrive pedal. I'm going to actually boost it up to plus 1 dB. So to do that and control it via the snapshots, I just have to right click on the parameter I want to change, which in this case is the return level. I'm going to come down to select the snapshots option and then increase it to the level I want this snapshot to jump to. So let's go for plus 1 dB. Okay, so lastly, just to round off this lead sound, I also want to change the amount of reverb I have just on this lead sound alone. So to do that, I'm going to come over to the reverb block and apply exactly the same process. I'm going to right click on the mix control, and just for the lead snapshot alone, I'm going to increase it from 21% up to about 30. So that's going to give us a little bit more roundness in the tone. Okay, that's really nice, and then you'll notice when I switch back to a different snapshot now, those certain parameters jump back to the default state that they were in. So for example, the reverb level here has dropped back to 21%. Alright guys, so I hope that was a helpful little guide on how you can use snapshots within your presets, basically to expand them and allow you much more control, particularly in gigging environments, so that you don't have to change presets, you don't have to change the way you've laid out your signal flow. You can basically just maximize the potential of every preset you have. And also you can see this is a really helpful way to change different parameters, as well as switch several blocks on and off at the same time, and even include external switching of devices like your amplifier channel switch. Alright guys, I hope you've enjoyed this video on the HX effects. If you have, please leave us a like down below. You can comment down there too with your thoughts, and if you've got a question about HX effects, leave it down there and we'll get back to you. Please hit that subscribe button too if you haven't done so already, and tap the bell icon that's next to it so you'll be notified of all our future video uploads, including the rest of the videos that are going to be in this series focusing on the HX effects. So that's it, I hope you've enjoyed it. As always, stay tuned and I'll see you next time.